What up, world? It's your boy DJ Iron Chef. And I don't know if you know it, but I like to cook. Put our Thanksgiving dinner together. I'm going to show you how I fry some chicken. So we take our flour, sift it so it's nice and thin, no lumps in it. Season the flour as you go. I just use pepper, garlic, and Kingsford Cajun seasoning. Little to no salt in it. For our egg wash, we have not one but two duck eggs, fresh off a farm. We got a guy. Go ahead and beat them eggs like they owe you money. A little bit of salt and pepper in there. See the milk in the back? That's the add to the egg wash. Thin it out a little bit. Now, I don't believe I've used shortening before, but I went ahead and used shortening in this batch, and it actually came out pretty good. Looks like I'm using a lot, but this stuff melts. You got to keep that in mind, so it's not just sitting in there, you know. You got to have enough to coat at least one half of the chicken while it's in there, so when you flip it, you can coat the other half and cook it nice and thorough. Now, we went to Kroger and got these chicken legs. They were $5 for 15. 15 chicken legs, $5. In this economy, that's a steal. Can of whole kernel corn, Glory mixed greens, gourmet blend mushrooms, and instant white rice. Now, these grains are already seasoned. They already got this, that, and the fifth in them. Unless you feel like losing your eyesight, I wouldn't recommend putting anything else in there other than maybe a pinch of pepper, and that's what I did. The corn don't need much. I put a little bit of salt in here and a small teaspoon of butter, not much. Now, you can use fresh garlic if you want, but the minced garlic is just already ready to go. I use that for the mushrooms later in the video. Go ahead and take our legs and dredge them in the egg wash. Go ahead and drop them in our flour mix. If you got yourself a deep enough bowl, you can essentially rock these boys back and forth and mix them and not worry about making too much of a mess. Although I did use about a fifth to a quarter of a roll of paper towels trying to keep all this clean. Make sure they're nice and coated. And double check before you drop them in. Any extra loose feathers, make sure they're plucked off. Go ahead and drop them boys in that heat. One of the only bad things with frying chicken is the crumbs that get off. They'll tend to get to the bottom of your skillet and they can burn, or they can cause the heat on the second batch to not disperse the way it's supposed to. So it might mess up your cooking a little bit. Just keep that in mind. This is about after, I want to say 7 to 10 minutes. Sitting in there getting all crispy on one side. I got the corn and the greens on one burner. The center burner I got is just the warmer. It's not really meant to cook. So with the rice, it took me a long time to figure out the right ratio for this. But whatever you put in there, you want to fill that water afterwards. So you add your rice first. I used to add the water and then bring the water to a boil and then add the rice. Whatever your rice level's at, you want to fill it with water about, I want to say about 1/4 of an inch above the amount of rice you put in there. If you're trying to eyeball it, set it on the stove, turn on medium high, cap it, and let that boy do his thing. A couple minutes later, after we flipped our chicken, add a little bit more shortening to it. That's how our bottom side's looking. And you can see it's already got that good color to it. It's looking right. Now this chicken, when it was done, it wasn't super crispy and crunchy, but I'll tell you, it was some of the most tender that I've ever had. So our rice is starting to boil, starting to foam up. That's fine. Start to reduce the heat. Try not to have that stuff boil over or burn. I try to leave it as intact as I can without actually lifting the lid and scooping around and letting it mix and stuff. Just let it sit there in its own steam and heat. And eventually it'll calm down once you lower the heat. It's that starch that's in there that will boil out and will start to burn. Don't nobody want that. And that rice will just sit there and finish doing what it's doing, and it's after another 5-6 minutes of resting, it's good to go. So I believe this is after flip number 2 on our chicken. Vegetables starting to heat up. Looking good. Flip them again. I'm spending about 7 to 10 minutes on each side. I want to make sure these are cooked all the way through. I've had it happen where I finish an entire meal of fried chicken and it's literally not done in the center because of either how thick it is or what. And that'll drive you insane. After we flip them again, you can see they're starting to get crispy. Crispiest. And before they're done, I'll stand them up just to make sure the top half where the bone is cooked all the way through. That one keeps slipping on me there for a minute. It did not want to stay up. And after about 3 or 4 minutes just sitting like that, they're good to go. So we did 8 of these. That's the first 4. A lot of people don't realize it, but if you put in that little bit of extra effort when it comes to cooking, whether it's seasoning, something like sifting your flour, by the time your meal's done, the food thanks you by being as good as it can be. And that's our rice down there. We did literally nothing else once we cut off the steam and cut off the burner. It's all heat trapped in there, letting it cook. Good to go. And that's one side of our chicken down. Flip it. Another 7 to 10 minutes on that side. We'll do it 2 more times on roughly medium heat. That's our second flip right there. And you can see like the bottom, the top side was looking decent. Bottom looks just as good as the top. This is just to make sure that it's all the way done. Now, if this was deep fried, it'd more than likely be like in a deep fryer. It'd more than likely be done at this point. If it's completely submerged, cooking all the way through at the right temperature. So we got a skillet in the back, a little bit of butter in it. I believe I added just a little too much by the time it was done, but I did drain a little bit of the butter out of it. These are going to be used for the mushrooms. That might look like a lot of mushrooms, but they cook into nothing, let me tell you. Add a little extra butter on top here. Yeah, in retrospect, I can see that's a little bit too much. I should have used like half of that. And we'll just go ahead and mix that around. I believe I used a pinch of black pepper and some Italian herb in this. And it tastes real good when it was done. Everybody ate some, wasn't none left. Some people say the mushrooms don't have a flavor or that they don't taste a certain way. I'm not a fan of them raw, but you cook them with some butter, some garlic. Delicious. Like, as you can see, they're already starting to reduce, and they shrink even further. And we'll use about a teaspoon, maybe less, because that's a tablespoon, and I don't put it all in there, of the minced garlic. It's already shrinking, like you can see it, little by little, getting smaller and smaller. I'm a big fan of garlic. I use it in almost everything that I make. You see how dark the, not the chicken, but the oil is itself. That's from the flour starting to burn. So if I was gonna make another batch after this, I would more than likely have to change that skillet. Pour the grease into one pan, clean out the bottom of it if I'm gonna reuse it, and make sure all that extra flour crumbs that's burnt down there is gone. Otherwise it could start to hamper how the rest of the chicken gets fried. And with that, I believe it is all good to go. Butter mushroom with garlic. Simple white rice. Seasoned mixed greens. I was gonna use that wooden spoon, but I'm like, wait, that's a lot of juice. Let me get a different spoon for that. Let some of that juice drain out. That's a lot. Slight mix on the corn. Add that on that plate. And lastly, you can grab yourself a fat ass chicken leg. Look at that. It's not burnt. Slightly crispy on the outside, juicy on the inside, super tender. Pretty good. All right, baby. I'll see you in the next one. What I'll make, I have no idea. But when I do, I'll let you know. It's DJ Iron Chef. I'll see you on the next plate. Peace.